Good morning. This is VirtualPBX-admin training. Sorry for the slightly late start. It's been a little bit crazy today. We do record these trainings. They last about 30 to 40 minutes depending on load times. These trainings are designed to show you where things are. You're going to want to use the links in the show notes, like the support page link, to look up features and get the step-by-step guides for the individual features. With that, we'll go ahead and get started. This is our login page, which is at dash.virtualpbx.com. To get logged in, we need three pieces of information. We need your username, which is your email address in lowercase letters, your password, which is case sensitive, and the account name, which is typically your organization name, and then click on sign in. If that doesn't work, just above that sign in bar is a forgot your info link. And if you click on that, it flips the box around. We still need your email address, and then we need one of the two pieces of information below. So typically the account name is the easiest, but you could also use a phone number instead. Click on the reset password. This will send you an email. In the body of the email will be a link that lets you temporarily log in to change your password. Once you change that password, it logs you back out, and then you come back here, enter that password in, click sign in. And once you click on sign in, you'll be taken to your dashboard page, which shows you a quick snapshot of your account in terms of what's going on. We'll start up here at the top where you see your name. You click on that. It's going to be a big pop-up here. This is your user account page. If you just changed your password, you just saw this page, because this is where you go to change your password. As a system admin, over on the left, you have access to the account level settings. Typically, things that are changed here are the time zone and language. As system admins, you can also manage the add-ons for the account. This could include things like virtual text forward, multiple auto attendants, advanced reporting, dynamic caller ID. These will have a fee associated with them, more than likely. That will be denoted in the pop-up box, so you have to confirm that to continue to add that feature. Next, we have the billing portal sections. And first up is the billing portal itself. And here is where you would access the customer portal. That is where you would go to see previous invoices or update your payment information. Any system admin can click on cancel account. And when that page loads, click on the red cancel account button and fill out the resulting forms. This will close your account at the end of the current billing cycle, where at which point you'll get your final invoice, and then your account will be closed. When you're done in this page, over here, click on close. You're back here on the dashboard. Up at the top here, D&D stands for do not disturb. Mine is currently active, meaning calls to my user are going to voicemail. If I click on it again, I accept calls normally. Little phone icon here. This opens up a new tab. It takes me to webphone.virtualpbx.net. If I have a web phone device on my user, I can log into that page using my dash log information, and this allows me to use Chrome, Firefox, or Safari on my computer to make and receive calls. This does count as a VoIP phone. The little speech bubble icon here, this will open up a new tab and take you to virtualtext.app. This has its own login information, and this is where you go to make use of the virtual text feature. Little question mark icon. This will open up a chat window at the bottom right of your browser. This will allow you to chat with our support team so they can help you with a particular feature that you're working with. The hamburger icon here, these three horizontal lines, this is the menu icon. This gets you to other dash features, which we'll be talking about at the end of the training. And then the arrow icon to the right is to log out of the account. We're going to skip down here into the middle, total users. These are my users on my account who make and receive calls. And then total devices and the kinds of devices. These three that I'm highlighting here, the web phone, soft phone, and SIP phone. These are all kinds of VoIP phone devices. Then I have total numbers, 13, and breakdowns of the types. Assigned numbers versus spare numbers. Assigned number means it's in use. Right? Someone can call it and leave a voicemail, speak to somebody, join a conference, send a fax. Spare numbers, it's on your account and counts towards your bill potentially, but you're not currently using it. USDID just means a US local number, whereas US toll free is a toll free number, right? 800 number, 888, all the way down to 833. Conference bridges, I have 3. That means I've enabled the conference feature on 3 of my users. Over here to the top right, these 3 main numbers all behave the same way. They're going to the same part of my system. They're all playing the same main greeting. The conference room number, you can have multiple conference room numbers if you want, but they're going to the same set of conference rooms. This is the number everyone would dial to join a conference. That includes your staff. The fax box number, this is your main fax box number. It's your inbound fax number. You can have the one main number for faxing. Once you do have one here, you can edit the fax box to allow for outbound faxing, which we'll get to much later. The company directory, there's 2 links here, CSV and SoftPhone. CSV is just that, it's a CSV file. Open it with your favorite spreadsheet program. It will show your users, their names, their email addresses, and their devices. The softphone link is for use with the VirtualPBX desktop softphone application. So if you're using our softphone app on a Mac or Windows PC, download this file, upload it to the softphone on your computer, and in your contact list, you'll see your other staff members who are using the VirtualPBX softphone and the status of their VirtualPBX softphones, i.e. whether they're on a call or not. VirtualPBX Store, this will open up a new tab, take you to store.virtualpbx.com, and that's where you can order things like VoIP phones or headsets, etc. The account realm is unique to each account. It's one of the 3 pieces of information you need to program a third-party softphone. It's also used in outbound faxing. Now we're going to go back up here towards the top in this blue bar. Caller ID, this is your company caller ID. If you're making use of VoIP phones, you want to make sure that in this pull down here, you have selected one of your main numbers. That becomes your default, or it's what your VoIP phones would use by default as their outbound caller ID. And then click on Save Changes. Hold music. You can upload your own media files, .wav or .mp3 up to 1 megabyte. Just click on Browse, and the up arrow icon, and then Save Changes. This hold music file plays after a call has reached one of your staff members and they've pressed hold on their VoIP phone. That's when it plays. Hours is part of main number. We don't want to get into that quite yet until after we've done a couple other things, most notably which we'll go to users here on the left. Users shows all your users on the account. The people with the blue suit icon are system admins. The gray person icon here, like Dante, standard user, very limited access. To add a user, click on Add User up here at the top, and you're filling out the form. The main thing to know is that the email address used for login needs to be unique for each user, right? You can't reuse email addresses. And then create a password. You can enter in whichever extension number you want. We start you off with 4-digit extensions just to give you maximum growth and to save those menu options 0 through 9 for anything you want to use. The system will automatically create a voicemail box for the user, basically saving you a step. You have the option to include them in the user directory or dial by name directory. You can change this at any time. Send emails to an alternate address. So by default, any communication the system has with your staff, it uses the email address used for login, password resets, voicemail notifications. If you want those emails to go to a different address, then you would put a check mark here and enter that different address in the box provided. And this is something you can change at any time. And then you can send credentials to user, which I do recommend. What that means is when you click one of the 2 bottom buttons here, the user gets sent an email welcoming to the Dash account and includes their login information. Once a user is created, you can click on their name and you can adjust their name if you need to. Here's where you would adjust their email address or password if you need to update that. That also lets you send the password reset email directly to them. Here you can change the PIN number for their voicemail box. And then here's the option to send to an alternate address, and here's the option for to be in the user directory or not. This pull down lets you change a user into an admin or an admin to a user. Little clock icon. This allows you to change the time zone for this specific user. That way their voicemail timestamps are correct for their time zone. The flag icon lets you change the display language of these web pages for that user. Ringing timeout is 20 seconds by default, which is plenty of times for a landline or VoIP phone. If you have someone only using a cell phone, then you'd want to increase this to 30 seconds. Users can have their own phone numbers. In the show notes, use that support page link to do a search for adding a phone number. A phone number on a user is available 24/7, does not have hours of operation. Next up, devices. We recommend adding devices directly to a user. In this video, I'm just going to talk about adding a soft phone. Whenever you add a soft phone or web phone, you get this warning message. Make sure to read that at least once. So in the box provided here, this is a third-party soft phone, meaning you're using somebody else's soft phone application, which is fine. Just give it a name. You'd copy the SIP username, click on the SIP password box, and then copy and paste that. Please do not change it or delete it. And then the account realm. Those are the three pieces of information you need to program or provision third-party soft phone. If you want to use our soft phone, right, the VirtualPBX soft phone, then down here below where it says View Configuration Guide, right, it says Use Third-Party Application. This is a toggle. So when you click on it, it flips it. So now it says Use VirtualPBX Application. Give it a device name. Click on Create Device. And then click on Save Changes. Once you click on Save Changes, the user is sent an email saying their VirtualPBX soft phone is ready. In the body of the email is going to be their username and password to log into the app, which will be completely different than what they use to log into the web page. And then there'll also be download links so they can download the app to their appropriate device. Now, users can have multiple devices. Like you see here in the show notes, you can look at the support page link and search adding devices like adding a cell phone. You can also look at the auto provisioning guide in terms of adding SIP phones. User features. Caller ID number. This is for users that have a phone number assigned to them. This allows that phone number to be their outbound caller ID for their VoIP phones instead of the main number by default. Voicemail boxes. Voicemail boxes can hold up to 100 messages. After that, they are full and cannot accept any more. By default, we do send you an email with the MP3 attachment so you can listen to it over the phone. To manage the voicemail box, you can either log into the website and go to your user portal, which we'll be getting to later, or you can call into your voicemail box and manage it over the phone. Now, Follow Me is for users with multiple devices. So this user has 3 devices, which means right now when calls come to them, all 3 devices will ring at the same time. If that user doesn't want that, they would need to go to a system admin if they're not one themselves. And then as an admin, you would come up here and enable this feature. And then you need to tell the system which devices you want to make use of by clicking or unchecking the box under Do Not Ring, and then giving the devices a ring time. Now up here at the top is a duration or ring duration. It defaults to 120 seconds. You can change that to what you see fit. You can also then click distribute. So then you're equalizing out the time between the 2 devices. And you can also click and drag and change the order and then click distribute to reflect that new order. One thing to know is that if this user is part of a group, which we'll be talking about next, calls from this group ignore the Follow Me settings. Right? This will only work for calls coming directly to this user. Fax box allows you to create a fax box for this user. You can either add a new extension number or add a phone number. I recommend using a phone number. Conference Bridge allows you to enable the conference feature for the user so they can host or moderate a conference. Call forwarding allows for call forwarding. Your users can enable call forwarding themselves either via the user portal or directly from their VoIP phones. As an admin, the main benefit for you would be to come in here for your VoIP phone users and set up failover mode. So if their VoIP phone goes offline, you can have the system automatically forward without you having to do anything else, right? You set it up ahead of time. Customized call recording allows you to record inbound and outbound calls for the user. Music on hold lets you to upload your own .wav or MP3 file to be the hold music file specific to this user. Do not disturb lets you put a user on or off do not disturb. And then hot desking allows a user to log into the VoIP phone that they're sitting at. So this is for a shared office environment or a situation where people don't have a set desk that they sit at every day. Next up, we have groups, which is departments, also referred to as hunt groups or ring groups. Up here at the top of the page, you click on Add Group. You need to give it a name and an extension number. And then click and drag your staff members that you want to be in the group. Click on Create Group. Once a group is created, you can click on the name. You can change the name at any time. You guys have group call attempts. This is how many times the system will offer an inbound call to the members of the group. There's little arrows here at the right where you can increase or decrease that as you need to, and then click on Save Changes, or you can also delete the group if you no longer need it. In the members box, you have the people who are assigned to the group and how you're offering calls to them. This is a case of blast ringing or ring all, right? So whoever picks up the call first gets it. You can also click distribute, right? So it always rings in this order, which means Jeanette always gets the call first. Even if she's on a call, the system does not skip her, right? So she will be offered the call for 30 seconds before it goes to David. Now, if I know, for instance, I have Jeanette on a big project and I don't want her disturbed that much, I would click and drag, move her to the bottom, click distribute again. So now she's at the end. Right here is your total ring time. You can adjust that as you see fit. It defaults to 120 seconds. If you need to add staff, you would just click on the add user link here. If you need to remove people, you would just click on remove and then save changes. Groups can have their own phone number. Just like under users, it's available 24/7. Group features. Bringing back is essentially the hold music file for the group. You would click here to enable it and then upload a MP3 or WAV file up to 1 megabyte. Main thing to know is the system does not loop the file for you, so make sure your file will play as long as the total ring time of the group. Right, so the default's 120 seconds. Make sure your file is at least 120 seconds. Next action, if no one picks up, what do you want the system to do? Click up here to enable, and then in the pull down, select something on your system, whether that's a voicemail box, another group, a specific user, or device, and then save changes. Allow call forwarding. If you enable this, that means your users can make use of call forwarding, i.e. they're not going to be at their normal desk phone. Caller ID prepend, this is a VoIP phone feature. This allows you to add text or numbers that show up on your staff member's VoIP phone in front of the inbound caller ID. All right, so customer Mary calls in, reaches staff member Bob's VoIP phone on his Yealing phone. He sees the word support and then customer Mary's phone number. So he knows what the call is about. All right, so we have users, we've got groups. Let's go over here to main number. Your main company numbers, these are your default numbers that customers use to reach you. You can unassign them, meaning they're no longer main numbers, but they're still on your account. You have a little gear icon here to update the caller ID, E911, or prepend for any phone number. And you can add additional numbers down here at the bottom. Office hour strategy, you can be open 24/7, or if you choose custom office hours for each day of the week that you're open, put a check mark, and then select your open hours in 24-hour or military time. You can also choose to be closed for lunch every day that you're open, put a check mark, and then set your lunch hours in 24-hour and military time, and then click on Save Changes. Office holidays, if you're closed for holidays, put a check mark here. Then over here on the right, click on Add Holiday. You have the option for single day, date, range, or advance. Each of these creates a new row. Fill out the row. Right? Give it a name. Choose your month and date, or your start date and end date, or etc. Click on the trash icon if you no longer need a holiday, and then click Save Changes if you make any changes. Incoming call handling. This is how your system is offering calls during your open hours, your after hours, and your holidays. So calls on my open hours are going to my virtual receptionist, which is a link here. The main menu, this is what people press on their phone to navigate through my phone system. I can click on Add Route to give myself more menu options. The first pull down, 0 through 9, and the star key and the default action. The second pull down are things on my system. Greeting options, you have text to speech, which is just that. You type in a greeting and the system reads it back in a computerized robotic voice. It names the file for you, so after you create one of those, you're going to want to rename it to something you can recognize. You can upload a .wav or MP3 file, and then the system will use that instead. You can choose from existing recordings, and this pull down shows all your existing media files. Choose the one you want, and then click Update. Record it over the phone. When the system says pick up a phone, register to the account, that means pick up a VoIP phone. Dial into your main number, and then enter this PIN number. Now, if you don't have a VoIP phone handy, or you don't want to use one, under Settings, come down to here where it says Allow Outside Recording, and turn that on. This allows you to change your main greeting over the phone from any phone. You still need this PIN number. This PIN number is specific to this time of day on this account, right? So it only works during my open hours. If I called on a Saturday, this PIN number would not work. When you call in, you're going to hear your main greeting. You enter in the PIN number, then the system walks you through recording over the phone. You are replacing the existing main greeting that you just heard with whatever you're recording. So you're losing that existing main greeting. Professional recording services, when you click order here, this will open up a new tab, take you to Snap Recordings, which is a separate company. They have like 100 voice actors to choose from. They have different packages. They send you the completed file, so then you would come back up to upload your own file. Number of retries on this dial, this is how many times your inbound caller can make a mistake. They have one built-in attempt, so I have one entered in the box here, which means my inbound caller has 2 total attempts to navigate through my system. Dialing timeout, this is how much time the system listens for additional button presses, i.e. if the caller is trying to enter in a multi-digit extension, they have some time in between each button press. Allow dialing extensions, by default this is on. This means that if they enter a valid extension number, the system transfers the call. If I turn this off, that means they can only enter a menu option. Anything else is considered invalid entry. And then suppress the playing of invalid entry. By default, this is off. And what that means is customer keeps calling in and they keep hitting 8, which is not a valid entry. Eventually, the system says, we did not recognize your entry. And then if there's a default action, like there is here, then the system would transfer the call. If I remove the default action, then the system said, we did not recognize your entry, goodbye. So in that first scenario where we are transferring the call, that's probably where you want to turn that suppression on. So it just says transferring your call. So it's less intrusive for your customer. Any changes you make here, click on save and then click on save changes here under incoming call handling. So in my after hours, I have the second option here, which first is a pull down. The idea here is you're offering a call to somewhere on your system, typically a user, a group, or device. If they're not able to pick up, then it goes to their virtual receptionist. And this is my after hours virtual receptionist, so I have different menu options and a different greeting. But beyond that, the same idea that we just looked at. Holidays, I'm using this third option. The first pull down, you can select something on your system, typically user, group, device, potentially a media file. And then the second pull down is a specific voicemail box. Main conference number, you got multiple conference room numbers if you want. Just click on either add from spare or buy new. You also have the option for a custom text-to-speech greeting. Just click enable, type in the greeting that you want the system to say. The main fax box number, once you assign a fax box number, then you can edit the fax box. You can only have the one main fax box number. The inbound notification email in the box provided to the right, enter an email address, and that address gets sent a message every time a fax is completed with a PDF attachment. If someone dials your fax box number and then hangs up, this email address gets sent a message saying that there was a failed inbound fax attempt. Email permissions, in the box on the right, to the right of this, you can either enter in a specific email address or, as is shown here, your company's email domain. If you choose your company's email domain, that means anyone at your company can send a fax out from this account, even if they're not a user on the account. To do so, they would create an email from their work email address. In the to field, they'd put the destination number. That means +1, area code and phone number, no spaces, dashes, or parentheses. Then they put the @ symbol and then the account realm. And then they need to attach a PDF or TIFF file. Right? The system is only sending out the attachment. It looks at the to field, the from field, the attachment. Anything typed in the subject line or the body of the email is not sent out. So if you want a fax cover sheet, it needs to be included as part of that PDF attachment. Auto attendance is a plan specific or add-on feature. This allows you to create additional menus. You would just click on add attendant, give it a name, and then give it an extension number, click on create attendant. By default, when you add a new attendant, it's unavailable in main menu, meaning it's a standalone attendant. If I click available in main menu, that means it can become a menu option off of my virtual receptionist. It can even be a destination off of next action from a group. Auto attendants can have their own phone numbers. And then the little wrench icon here under settings. You have the open hours, after hours, and holidays. This matches what you set up under your main number. In all cases, they're going to a virtual receptionist where you would need to set up menu options and greetings, etc. Devices shows your devices on the account. A red device means it's unregistered, so we can't send calls to it. A green device means we can. For your VoIP phones, under the little wrench icon here, advanced, and then under emergency caller ID, any phone number that you have associated an address with, you can add to a phone or VoIP phone specifically for the purposes of 911. So that if this phone ever dials 911, this is the address information that gets transmitted to emergency services. Right? So that way, your staff members who are working remotely can have the proper address sent if they ever have to. Greetings tab shows your media files on the account. You can click add to add a new file up here. Just give it a name, click browse, upload a .wav or MP3 file. You've got the name of the file. The source, TTS means text-to-speech, which means it was created under a virtual receptionist or auto attendant. Upload means the file was uploaded. Recording means it was recorded over the phone. The play column here, you can click on the little play icon to the right of the file and listen to it directly in your browser. If that doesn't work, you can download the file and play it on your computers or your device's media file player. This is also something you may want to do for your main greeting, so you have a backup copy of it. Little wrench icon here. You can change the name of an existing recording or remove it if you know you no longer need it. Numbers tab shows your numbers in use and where they're assigned. Gear icon here, so you can update the caller ID, E911 or prepend. Spare numbers, these are numbers that you're not currently using. If you want to remove a number, then you would click on the little box in front of it, click on delete, and then click on delete numbers to remove the number from your account. Voicemail boxes shows your voicemail boxes on the account. The ones that have a entry under user was the user created voicemail box, but you can create your own under the voicemail box up here at the top. Click on name, click or create it, give it a name, give it a voicemail box number, click on and create a PIN number, create a new voicemail box number. Just bear in mind that the voicemail box number is not the same as an extension number. So if I dial 3333 from my virtual receptionist, I'm not getting here. The voicemail box number, PIN number, is what you use to access the voicemail box over the phone, right? To listen to messages, updated screening. Under advanced screening media, you can upload an MP3 file directly to, or MP3 or WAV file directly to it to be its screening media file. The temporary file would be for the out of office or vacation message. If you have something selected in both, only the temporary plays. The media file will not play again until the temporary is sent to none. Recipients, your user voicemail boxes have a built-in recipient, the email address used for login. But any voicemail box, you can come here, click on add new recipient and enter email addresses. Keep clicking add until you're done, and then save changes. And once you've done that, you can click on already set up and just make sure that you've got the attached messages to email. If you have a voicemail box that you don't ever want to get full, then you can also click on delete after notification, which just means after the system sends out that email with the MP3 attachment, it deletes that voicemail message from the box so it doesn't get full. Virtual extensions, plan-specific feature. This allows you to create extension numbers without adding full users. They are limited. They can only have one device, and because they're not full users, they can't be added to a group. Call logs shows your call history on the account. You can go today, this week, this month, or custom. Custom lets you go back up to 1 year. And then you would just click on filter. The green arrow to the right is a call coming into the system. A yellow arrow to the left would be an outbound call from the system. And you can always click on a call to see like what devices it reached out to. In this case, it probably just went to voicemail versus actually getting to a device. The little fire extinguisher icon, this will create an email for you pre-addressed to support@virtualpbx.com. And it'll include the technical details. You're going to want to include context for the staff members so they know what they're looking for. Feature codes, this is a way for your VoIP phone users to access Dash features directly from their VoIP phones. You can do a search in the support page for feature codes or phone commands cheat sheet. That's the dashboard. Call center, plan-specific feature. These are call queues. In the show notes, you should see an ACD QUEUES Pro demo to give you a better idea of what that is about. Dynamic caller ID and plan-specific or add-on feature. This allows you to create rules to change the outbound call ID for your VoIP phones with other phone numbers on your account. Faxes is your fax manager. So this allows you to see your inbound and outbound faxes on your account. Reports is the advanced reporting feature. It opens up a new tab, takes you to reports.virtualpbx.com and has its own login information. There should be a link in the show notes for the advanced reporting feature. Voicemails is your voicemail manager. So as an admin, you can get to any voicemail box on the account. So you can manage them if any of them are you're being told any of them are full. So if there's a voicemail box, there's a check mark here. There's a box you can check and then change its status and or listen to it and download it. Integration AWS is a plan-specific feature. This allows you to link your Dash account to your own Amazon Web Services account. So if you wanted to store your call recordings, voicemails, or faxes, this is where you would go. Messaging is if you're doing anything regarding SMS. You've got virtual text, where you would add the user directly here. Text forward, where you would add the number. and text numbers to verify text numbers. Blacklist is a way to create a list of numbers that you're blocking from reaching your staff. Call recording. Since this account is set up with AWS, it's showing my AWS interface. Otherwise, you would go to the recording manager, which opens up a new tab, and it requires your dash login information to log in. Number manager, this takes you back to your spare number page. User portal, every user has access to their own user portal. It starts you off on your voicemail tab, so you can listen to your messages here. Call history shows your call history, and you can change the date range to go further back in time. Fax tab only works for users that have their own fax box, but they would see their fax history. The contact list is everything on your Dash and Cloud, including feature codes. Just helps your staff members transfer calls. The conference tab is where your users who have the conference feature enabled can go to change like their moderator and participant PIN numbers. Those PIN numbers should be different. And then settings and devices, right here is where your staff members can enable call forwarding on their own. They just put a check mark here and then put +1 area code of phone number of where they're going to forward to and click save. Right, so now I'm forwarding. I come back, uncheck, and now I'm not forwarding. Webhooks is a plan-specific feature. This allows you to link Dash to other software. In the show notes, you can look at the introduction to Zapier webinar. You can also go to developer.virtualpbx.com to see sample code of what we've done to link Dash to other software. And then SMS registration, this is what you have to go through to make use of the virtual text feature. So this first page is about what is going on, as well as the step-by-step guide, which I do recommend reading. Start registration is where you go to start that registration process. And then registration status just tells you where you are in that process. And that is everything. I thank you for your time today, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 10 a.m.